Hello there. Welcome, and thank you for joining me tonight. As you settle into bed or find a quiet moment for yourself, take a slow, easy breath in and gently exhale. Let the worries of the day drift away, like autumn leaves carried on a slow-moving stream. This is your time, a space of calm, stillness, and comfort. A gentle journey awaits you now. Tonight, we'll be visiting a small hidden bookshop tucked beneath the cobbled streets of 19th century Paris. On a rainy evening, when the lanterns glow like gold behind glass windows, and the sound of soft footsteps echoes in the mist. Imagine the soft rhythm of rain tapping gently against the rooftops, the way it trails down iron balconies and quiet shuttered windows. The smell of damp stone mixed with old paper and melted wax. We are about to step into a world that exists just on the edge of memory. A world where time slows and stories wait patiently on shelves, where shadows flicker by candlelight and silence is filled with whispers of the past. Let the gentle tone of this story lull you into peace. Let each word fall softly, like raindrops on old pavement. You are safe here, and you are welcome, so rest your head. And let's begin our quiet walk together toward the glowing door of a forgotten bookshop in a rainy corner of Paris a very long time ago. The evening begins quietly. Rain has settled into a steady, gentle rhythm, tapping across the rooftops of Paris like fingers on a piano played just for the night. It's not a heavy rain, no thunder, no storm. Just a soft, persistent drizzle, falling through narrow alleyways, pooling in the uneven cobblestones, and whispering against shuttered windows. The sky above the city is a misty gray, with hints of soft lilac fading where daylight once lived. The gas lamps are already glowing, tiny orbs of warm amber lighting the way through winding lanes. Their flickering flames reflect in the puddles beneath them, as if stars had fallen into the streets. You walk slowly, your footsteps muffled by the wet stone beneath your shoes. There's no rush, only the serene pace of the rain and the occasional creak of a wooden cart rolling by. As you turn a quiet corner near the 6th arrondissement, the heart of the left bank, the scent of roasted chestnuts drifts by from a distant vendor's cart. It mingles with the earthy smell of wet stone, coal smoke, and the faint perfume of someone passing beneath a dripping umbrella. Everything feels slower in the rain. The city sighs instead of speaks, and Paris becomes a painting. Along one ivy-covered wall, a faint sign swings gently in the breeze. Its paint faded, its corners worn by decades of weather and quiet hands. You pause to read it. Librairie des Mémoires, the bookshop of memories. It's hardly visible at first, just an old hanging board above a wooden door, the lettering barely legible in the rain-dimmed light. But the moment you notice it, you feel drawn in, like the door is waiting patiently for you to arrive. A tiny bell above the frame jingles softly as you gently push it open, and with a soft creak, you step inside. Within the walls of this hidden sanctuary, time seems to melt away. The rain becomes a distant lull, like the crackle of an old record or the hush of a page turning. Outside may be cold and gray, but here, the world is candlelit, and our true story begins. The door closes gently behind you with a soft thud, muffling the sound of the rain to a distant hush. It's as though you've entered another world, one tucked just out of time. where stories linger in the quiet, and the air itself feels like a page waiting to be read. You pause for a moment near the entrance. A thick doormat, well worn by the soles of 1,000 quiet visitors, rests beneath your feet. The scent of the room meets you gently, a soothing blend of aged paper, leather bindings, and the faintest hint of dried lavender. The lighting is soft. A handful of oil lamps and wax candles glow on small wooden tables and hanging sconces. They flicker with warmth, casting golden halos across the room. The shadows they create move like they're breathing, slow and easy, swaying with the rhythm of the flames. The floor beneath you creaks softly with each step. Old dark wood planks that have seen generations pass through. They speak in gentle groans, as if greeting your presence with familiarity rather than surprise. To your left, a large wooden counter stands beneath a wall of hand-labeled drawers. Some are ajar, with slips of parchment peeking out. A silver kettle sits quietly beside an old porcelain cup, faint wisps of steam curling above it like a whisper in the air. The bookshop is larger than it first appeared from outside. The room stretches back and around corners you can't quite see yet. Bookshelves line every wall, rising high all the way to the ceiling. And along those high places, rolling ladders rest, their iron wheels still from disuse or recent movement. Some of the bookshelves are bowed with weight, holding not only books but scrolls, maps, ink bottles, and odd trinkets. A feather tucked in one corner, a dried flower resting between two thick volumes, a pair of wire spectacles laid gently across the spine of a French novel, and in every corner, books, stacked in piles, leaning gently against worn velvet chairs, placed lovingly on tables, resting in open chests. Their covers are faded and cracked in beautiful, unique ways. Many are wrapped in ribbon, some in wax-sealed paper. Some seem untouched for years. Others are left open, as if someone had just stepped away for tea. You walk slowly, your hand trailing across the edge of one shelf. You feel the tiny ridges of embossed gold lettering beneath your fingers. Fables Anciennes, 1762, it reads. A velvet chair nearby cradles a single book, left open, its pages yellowed and soft at the edges. You glance at the delicate script inside. It's a diary entry, dated April 1843. The rain returned again today. I lit the candle early and waited for the storm to settle. There is something peaceful about these gray evenings, as though time curls inward to rest. The handwriting is elegant and slow, as if the writer had nothing but time and ink. You return the book gently, as though placing a memory back in its cradle. From somewhere deeper within the shop, you hear the softest sound, the turning of a page, a sign of life, or perhaps just the bookshop breathing. And then, footsteps, unhurried, comfortable. They echo gently across the wooden floorboards, and soon, from behind a tall stack of books, an old man appears. He walks with a certain grace, not hurried, not slow, just present. His shoes, worn at the heel, make a soft tapping sound across the wooden floor. He wears a long brown waistcoat, patched lovingly at the elbow. A fine linen shirt beneath, slightly wrinkled, speaks of long hours spent among papers and shelves rather than mirrors and society. His face is framed by a graying beard, neatly trimmed, and eyes that glint with quiet intelligence, the kind shaped not by lectures, but by listening, to people, to stories, to silence. He notices you and offers a gentle smile, the sort that expects nothing in return. You nod back instinctively, as though any louder greeting might disturb the very air of the shop. He doesn't speak, not yet. Instead, he turns slowly and walks to a small side table beside the front counter. There, he begins one of many nightly rituals. First, he strikes a match, a soft hiss, then the bloom of a tiny flame. He lights a single candle in a brass holder, then takes a cloth and gently dusts the cover of a book that sits open beside it. You watch as he lifts the book with care, not like an object but like an old friend. He inspects its binding with quiet reverence, then returns it to the shelf just behind him, sliding it into place with practiced precision. It's clear he's done this for years, perhaps decades. The way his hands move, like he's in conversation with each item. Even the act of dusting feels like a meditation. On a nearby chair rests a folded woolen blanket. He picks it up, shakes it gently, and drapes it over the arm of a deep burgundy reading chair. Then from a drawer he retrieves a tin of loose-leaf tea, and with delicate hands begins brewing a small pot. The kettle, already warm, begins to whisper. The aroma that follows is soft and comforting, notes of chamomile, honeybush, and dried apple. He pours a cup, places it on a small saucer, then sets it down on the round table beside the chair, just beside a leather-bound journal and a tiny brass clock that ticks softly like a heartbeat. You realize this is not performance. This is ritual, a quiet act of devotion to the space, to the evening, to the memory of what this shop stands for. You step a little deeper into the room now, drawn by something gentle and unseen. The shopkeeper notices but says nothing. He simply gestures with a slow and graceful movement toward a row of books near the window, as though inviting you to explore. The window pane beside the shelf glows with candlelight from within and glimmers with beads of rain from without. Each droplet slowly descends the glass, leaving behind watery trails that blur the glow of the gaslight street lamps beyond. As you approach the shelf, you notice the titles: Journaux de voyage, Récits perdus, Lettres de minuit, old travel journals, forgotten tales, and midnight letters, each spine a doorway to some quiet adventure. You select a small, velvet-covered book from the middle row. It's untitled, save for a small golden embossed symbol on the cover, a compass rose. You glance back at the shopkeeper. He has settled into a high-backed chair behind the counter now, sipping his tea, eyes half closed. You open the book, and within its pages, a letter, handwritten, soft brown ink on ivory parchment. If you have found this book, it means the shop has chosen you. Read slowly. The rain will keep watch. The pages know your pace. You pause and smile. The letter inside the velvet book unfolds gently. Its parchment soft with age, the folds worn smooth from many hands, perhaps from many quiet readings in nights like this. The ink is a gentle sepia, not faded, just softened, like the voice of someone who speaks only when the room is still enough to truly listen. You settle into the velvet armchair nearby, pull the blanket over your legs, and let the candle beside you burn just a little brighter. The rain outside continues its gentle lull, tapping lightly on the glass like a lullaby sung in drops. And then you begin to read. To the future dreamer who finds these pages, you may not know me, and perhaps I no longer exist in any record or memory that matters to the world. But for a brief time, in the year 1821, I was here. Not in this very bookshop, but close enough. In a room above Rue de Seine, across from a bakery whose warm scent woke me more often than the sun. I was a watchmaker's apprentice then. My fingers smelled of oil and brass. My days were spent squinting into tiny gears, trying to make seconds behave. But in the evenings, I walked, always in the rain. I liked how it made the world quieter, how it gave the city back to the dreamers. I never wore a hat. I liked the feel of raindrops collecting on my hair like dew on an old statue. I liked how the world shimmered, how people's footsteps became music. On such an evening, I first found this bookshop. It looked exactly as you see it now, perhaps because some places aren't meant to change. They only sleep until someone needs them again. The shopkeeper then was a woman named Mireille. She never told me her last name. She spoke very little, but when she did, it felt as though the books leaned in to listen too. She once told me this shop wasn't built, it was remembered. That every book within these walls had belonged to someone who loved it. And when they were gone, the stories remembered the love and returned here. That idea comforted me, because I always feared being forgotten, as most of us do. But Mireille believed that stories were a kind of memory that never died, only waited. So I wrote this letter and left it tucked in this book. A book about journeys, about finding home in words. I hope you are warm tonight. I hope the rain sounds gentle where you are. And I hope this place, this letter reminds you that even if no one remembers your name, the kindness you leave in the world, the gentleness, will find its way back. Always. You sit in silence for a moment. There's no need to rush, no need to speak. The letter has folded itself gently back into the book, as if it too is now resting. You look out through the fogged window. Paris is a painting once more. The rain, its brush, the soft glow of a passing lantern reflects like a golden thread sewn through the gray. Behind you, the shopkeeper has risen again. He is lighting another candle, this time near a low bookshelf, casting a new pool of light where shadows once sat. He places a fresh cup of tea on the counter. Without words, you understand it is meant for you. The tea is warm between your hands, delicate, floral, perhaps chamomile with a hint of lavender. Each sip is like a soft exhale, melting tension from your shoulders. The bookshop remains hushed, except for the occasional gentle creak of the wooden beams, as if the old building is settling deeper into sleep with each passing minute. The rain continues outside, a soft, silvery curtain swaying against the glass. Its rhythm has become part of the silence now, a backdrop to every slow breath, every quiet blink. You glance at the old clock above the counter. Its hands have ticked gently past midnight, and yet you feel no weight of time. Because here, in this hidden corner of Paris, midnight doesn't mark the end of the day, it signals the beginning of dreams. The shopkeeper is at his desk once more, writing quietly in what appears to be a ledger, though you suspect it may be a journal. He doesn't seem tired, he seems timeless. Like someone who has lived through hundreds of midnights and still finds peace in each one. A cat, perhaps the same gray one from earlier, pads softly across the rug near your feet and curls into a perfect, contented circle by the fire. The flames crackle gently, their amber light dancing across rows and rows of spines, making the entire shop seem like it's flickering, as though the books themselves are alive, dreaming with you. Outside, the streets of Paris are quieter now. The gas lamps burn a little lower. The last few umbrellas have folded and gone home. Horse-drawn carriages no longer clatter through the streets. Only the sound of raindrops remains, gently tracing every rooftop, tapping every awning, whispering stories as they slide down window panes. The Seine, not far away, flows slowly under arched stone bridges. Its surface reflects the city lights like scattered constellations, a river of stars winding through the heart of night. Somewhere, in a tiny apartment above a patisserie, a painter finishes a final stroke on a canvas lit by candlelight. In another home, a child clutches a toy rabbit and turns in sleep, murmuring the start of a dream she will never remember. Midnight belongs to them too. To all of us who remain quietly awake, not because of worry or restlessness, but because the night is a friend we long to visit with. Back inside the shop, you rise slowly from your chair. There is no urgency, only a quiet pull to wander once more among the shelves. You pass sections labeled in gilded French script: Les Voyages, Les Histoires Perdues, Poésie Inconnue. You pause at one shelf where the books are bound in blue silk. The titles are stitched rather than printed, each one a name, a date, and a phrase like souvenirs oubliés, forgotten memories. You run your fingers gently along the spines. The fabric is cool, smooth, the names unfamiliar yet comforting. You sense each book here has been loved by someone, perhaps left behind like messages in bottles, waiting for hands like yours to find them again. Suddenly, you hear a soft knock at the door. It's not the sound of someone asking to enter, but rather the wind, politely reminding the shop it still exists. The shopkeeper looks up and smiles. He rises, not to answer the door, but to turn off the front lamp. The light dims slowly, casting a faint glow only inside now, separating the cozy world of the bookshop from the quiet dream of the city beyond. He places a new log on the fire, then returns to the counter and removes an envelope from a wooden drawer. He walks toward you, offering the envelope with both hands. His voice, when he speaks, is like the low rustle of pages. For you, a story yet to be written. You take the envelope, its paper thick and slightly rough beneath your fingers. It is sealed with wax, deep red, stamped with a tiny crescent moon. You do not open it. Not yet. Some stories are meant to be read only when the heart is still enough to listen. As you return to your chair, you feel your eyes growing heavier, not from exhaustion but from ease. You rest the envelope on the arm of the chair. Let your body relax into the velvet cushion. Let the sound of the fire, the rain, and the soft ticking of the clock wrap around you like a shawl. The shop does not ask anything of you. It simply invites you to be, to breathe, to drift. The bookshop grows even quieter now. Even the fire seems to settle into a slower rhythm, its embers glowing softly, like the fading warmth of a remembered embrace. Your body sinks deeper into the chair. Its velvet cushions cradle you like a bed of clouds. You feel weightless, as though the story, the rain, the warmth of tea have all wrapped you in layers of calm. Your breath is soft, even, like the pages of a book turning gently in a breeze. The candle near you flickers once, then settles into a steady glow, casting dancing shadows on the walls, each one shaped like a dream in motion. The cat by the fireplace lets out a tiny sigh in its sleep. You smile. There is a profound stillness now, not empty, but full. full of memory and possibility and silence that speaks more gently than words ever could. Outside, Paris slumbers under a silver sky. The rooftops, the chimneys, the narrow alleyways, they have become part of the night's quiet symphony. Even the bells in the cathedral towers no longer ring. They too, it seems, have drifted off for a while, letting the hours pass without interruption. You glance once more at the envelope in your hand. The wax seal catches the candlelight, a small crescent moon glowing like a promise. You do not need to open it now. Some stories are not meant to be read with eyes, but with dreams. Perhaps when you fall asleep, this letter will write itself behind your closed eyelids. And in the morning you might remember it, not as words, but as a feeling, a warmth, a rain-slicked street, a bookshop at the edge of time. You close your eyes. There is no rush to sleep, only the gentle easing inward, as though your thoughts are little boats pushed out softly onto a still lake, drifting further and further from the shore of wakefulness. Your last waking thoughts are like the final lines of a poem. A rainy evening, a city of dreams, a bookshop where memories breathe, a chair, a cup of tea, a story tucked into velvet, a promise sealed in wax and moonlight. And then, nothing. Only peace, only rest, only the soft, slow dreaming of someone who has found, at last, a place to sleep.